monster. No, you are wrong. I am a god.
I'm Rex Paradox, the greatest man who ever lived. Today on the program, I'm starting a new series, or maybe this isn't a new series. I don't know. I don't do scripts. This is not scripted, none of that shit. But let's just say today on the program, I'm talking about this thing. And I've been thinking about it. I think I did a video commentary or something, whatever the fuck. I did some kind of commentary. I don't think I uploaded it. But it's about the future of people like my generation. People my age. I'm not even gonna say millennials, just like people my age. Like, if you were born in the 90s, let's say like 1990 to 1994, because like after 95, I'm like, yeah, I don't really count you, man. I'm sorry, you don't count in my book. But like, I was born 1994, so like my fucking, you know, if you graduated in 2012, like if you were supposed to be part of that 2012 class, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, like the 1990 to 1994 generation. I guess some of you 95 kids count too. We're not kids anymore, we adults now. But so I've been thinking, I'm looking at my grandmother and shit, and like, you know, old people in general, like they generally have just problems with the internet, with cell phones and all that shit. My grandmother's like, I think she's like 73. I'm pretty sure she's like 73. Her birthday was it was in January. She's like 73, yeah. So it's this thing where I'm wondering, has it gotten to the point where, or will it ever get to the point where people my age now, I guess we're technically part of the millennial generation, will it ever get to the point where we can't use certain new technologies, right? You know, we'll have like some issues with new technologies. I'm wondering that, because like I look at her, even my mother who's like 53, 50 fucking, she's 52 now, she'll be 53 later this year. It's like, will we ever get to the point where like we can't do certain shit with technology, where we're just not able to do it? Because my mother's generation and her mother, my grandmother, they didn't grow up with technology like we have. They didn't grow up with like shit like the internet, where you have just fucking access to information at any time. They didn't have shit like cell phones. They eventually got cell phones, but they didn't have shit like cell phones. My grandmother's generation, like, they used typewriters and shit, dude. Typewriters. I don't know what my mother was using back in the day. I guess they had computers in the 80s and shit, so I'm like, it wasn't everywhere, but you know, computers integrated into her life. So I'm like, will it ever get to the point where some new technology just comes along that like people who are born with, you know, the electronics that we have now, we're not able to use that shit? Like, that's some scary. Can you imagine one day you're like fucking, I don't know, 53 and like you can't access your email anymore? Can you imagine some shit like that happening? And I feel like it might happen. It might happen. You never know which way technology is gonna go, but like, that's one potential future that people our age have. Millennials in general, for real. Like, if you like 30 now, like, when that technology and that new fucking technology comes around, like, you probably gonna be lost way before I am. You got like 6 years on me, but like, you gonna have some problems. I'm 24 now. Some people probably 25 this year. I'll be 25 later this year. But it's like, when we reach our 30s or our 40s or our 50s, it's like, it's gonna get to the point where we're gonna have problems keeping up with the technology, right? Because I can't say it's like this thing, but I feel like it's this thing where, because we have so much technology now, like, our brains, at some point, they're just gonna fucking get to the point where they really can't process this new information as well. They will not be able to do it. Because all these, what would be legacy devices, they're gonna be obsolete at some point. How many fucking kids do you know can use a typewriter? Nigga, I can't use a typewriter. I probably could learn how to use a typewriter, but like off the top of my head, I don't know how to use a typewriter. It's like, I know you hit the keys or whatever the fuck, and then you slide the thing over, but it's like, I've never used a typewriter. I don't know the whole process. I've only seen people use typewriter. Nigga, I have 2 typewriters in my basement, and I've never used those. Never. It's like, why would I use a typewriter? I have keyboards and shit. How many fucking kids, like, if you have like a niece or a nephew or a little brother or some shit, and like they were born in the early 2000s, really just like the past 10 to 15 years. Do you think they could fucking fix a VCR? You think they could set the time on a motherfucking VCR? You know how many people could set the time on a VCR in general? Like, how many of them kids you think could actually operate a fucking VCR? Or a fucking cassette player? Or I don't know about a CD player. That's pretty simple. It's like, think about shit like that, dude. Think it'll get to that point where we're not able to do basic shit like that. That shit is crazy. Some kids can't tell analog clocks, like what time it is on an analog clock. Like, dude, that shit is ridiculous. How the fuck? They're not teaching kids how to fucking tell time anymore? What the fuck? That's like some basic shit. You could go like, oh, well, you don't know how to read a sundial. I'm like, I could probably tell what time it is if I saw a sundial, though, realistically. You know, like, one of the skills I want to have is I want to be able to look up at the sky and like know what time it is. Some people don't know that the fucking sun rises in the east and sets in the west. That's like some basic survival shit. Some people don't know that. I'm like, how the fuck you getting lost, nigga? Like, east is that way. That's where the sun came from. If the sun's setting in this direction and east is the other direction, it's simple shit like that. Like, yo, some people don't know that. Like, I actually worry about how our future is going to go. I don't know if technology is going to make like these fucking gigantic jumps in our lifetime. And the thing is like, because of the time that we're born, the time that I'm born, it's like these fucking technological advances, like, they don't seem that big, but they're really big when you really think about it, right? Like, 50 years ago, people couldn't talk to other people in like different states with a fucking device in their pocket at any time. They couldn't do that. I can talk to people all over the world over the internet. Well, not necessarily face to face, but like, I can see their face while they're talking to me, and they can see their face, or they can see my face when I'm talking to them. They can see their face too. But like, shit like that, you couldn't tell people like, oh yeah, man, like 50 years from now, like, we gonna have this shit. We gonna have this shit. It's like, man, that's some fucking fake movie cartoon shit or something. And it's like, we have some of that shit. We have some of that shit. There are fucking flying cars out here. It's not like the Jetsons, but they're flying cars, right? Some people take the idea of an airplane for granted. They take that shit for granted. Like, oh, this isn't some fucking technological marvel. Like, nigga, it's a fucking, you're moving fucking super fast in the sky in a fucking chair. You're going like 500 miles an hour in a chair in the sky. In the sky. In the sky. That's fucking crazy. That is crazy. You can talk to people all over the world at home, or fucking depending on what kind of fucking cell phone provider or whatever the fuck you have. You can do it anywhere you want to with a fucking device in your pocket. I don't know if they have it where like they have the telecommunication watches now, the fucking video. I'm not sure. I don't have one of those. I don't know. But like, in your fucking pocket, just like a small little screen, fucking less than like 8-inch screen. You can talk to people all over the world. Like, what's the technology gonna be like in 30 years? Are we gonna be able to keep up? Are millennials, people my age? I don't consider myself a millennial. I think that's just like some fucking talking point that old people made up to describe like younger people who don't think like them. Cause I mean, like, realistically, like, we're probably way more educated than anyone fucking from like the past 30 years. We have a limitless resource called the internet, which is just fucking made learning fucking like it's nothing. Or I'm not gonna say learning nothing, but like the access that you have to information, it's like it's a fucking a keystroke away, a mouse click away, fucking couple touches on your fucking phone, whatever fucking device you have away. The ways that we process information are crazy these days, dude. It's crazy. Like, what's it gonna be like in the future for us? Because at some point, it's going to be too much information for our brains to just, it'll be too much for us to process. It's like, what? You change, what happened with email? What? And it's not like, you know, I'm gonna just fucking go fucking live in the woods for like 30 years. But it's like, it slowly creeps up on you where you can't keep up with the information and the technology at some point. Because it's like, it's so fucking new and shit. It's alienated. It's like, okay, I remember this shit, you know, like, I remember the fucking interface Google used to have. I'm like, what's this new shit they have here? Like, one day, Google might not be what it is now. It might not be like that search engine anymore. We might, like, fucking 30 years from now, motherfuckers might not have cell phones. It might be like some fucking chip in your arm and it fucking projects a screen and some shit. It's like, man, I honestly don't want to live in that world, man. Like, that's some crazy, unless I can, like, get a new body. Nah, nigga. What the fuck? Like, hell nah. Hell nah. But, like, that could be our future. And that shit is scary. I don't think enough people, like, we really don't think about that shit. If you have a grandparent now and, like, they technically challenged, like, have some empathy for them. Have some empathy for old people. And, like, personally, I kind of hate old people, but, like, I made a whole video about that shit. That's a personal bias I have. It's just like, we're going to be those old people one day, dude. We will be those old people one day. The fucking the people who can't open their email one day. We're going to have those problems. We will have those problems one day. It might not be 30 years. Maybe it's 40 years down the line. Shit, it might be 20 years down the line. Who the fuck knows? People use their time all kinds of ways these days. I try to use my time learning new skills and shit, but it's like, learning new skills is hard. It's hard. Mastering new skills, not learning new skills. Mastering new skills is hard. Right? Like, if you're fucking probably 20 years old, you probably mastered, okay, you know, I know how to get into my email and send emails and such, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's fucking posting shit on social media. Maybe it's fucking editing YouTube videos. I have no idea. Like, mastering music. It's up to you. It's like, at some point, we're going to have so many skills. It's just like, yo, we can't learn other shit. And you could probably try to debunk this, but, like, it's really true. At a certain point, the technology, it just becomes, like, so alienated from you that you can't keep up with this shit. At a certain point. Unless, like, you just on it 100% of the time, all the time. Like, you got to be on the forefront when this is being made. Otherwise, like, you're not going to know. And the thing is, technology, it hasn't changed so much in the past 10 years or so, where it's like, you can't keep up with it, but it's like, it's getting to that point where it keeps advancing. And one day, you're just like, fucking, this shit is going to go off the rails, and like, yo, what the fuck happened? It's like, okay, I missed that, now I gotta learn this shit. It's like, oh, well, here comes the new thing. It'd probably be like some new thing coming out like every 3 months. It's like, whoa, man, I'm 3 months back, man. It's like, I need to learn this shit and then this shit. Like, what the fuck? It might get to that point. And it might be like a fucking sweeping thing for a whole generation. Maybe. I don't know. The future is not looking great for some of us, man. For our generation, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Because we have a lot of legacy technology imprinted in our brains. Some kids, I can't, my cursive is terrible, straight up. Like, I can't write in cursive. Some people can do that shit. Personally, I felt like I wasn't taught how to fucking write in cursive properly, because like, I'm fucking left-handed, and you know, I pretty much had to learn like at fucking writing by myself. I had to learn pretty much like all that shit, figure that shit out myself. Right, like cursive's a dead thing. It's pretty much like a dead form of fucking communication. The same thing that you got shit like payphones. How many fucking people do you know can use a payphone today? You got fucking VCR, shit like that. Like, these are legacy technologies that people my age, some people older than me, they have that knowledge. They have that information. And it's like, it probably will never go away because they learned the shit when they were growing up. Right? Like, realistically, we'll probably never not know how to use the internet. But, like, maybe some shit comes around where, like, you don't need the internet anymore. Maybe it's like this fucking just crazy ass new version of fucking accessing information and shit. That could totally happen. It could be some fucking super version of the internet, where what we have now would be like the legacy version of that shit. Right? How many people do you know go to the library? Like, what the fuck I need to go to the library for? I have the internet. I'm not saying all the information in the library is on the internet, but it might be if I look hard enough. I guarantee you Google.com has a lot more information on it than, you know, any library you probably go to. Google.com is a search engine. Like, that's going to the library. It's like, oh, let me just find this. I don't have to talk to this. It's crazy, dude. That could be our future. What's the future for fucking 90s kids and millennials? I don't know, but like, it's kind of scary. The future is scary, dude. You already got robots taking people's jobs. Like, I'm not sure where this is going to go, dude. I'm really not. But I'm Rex Paradox, the greatest man who ever lived, and this video is over. Goodbye. Have a nice day.